Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday noon Finding Truth Everywhere meeting with an open door. Really glad you're all here, especially Carol. Hey, Carol. What a treat to have you here today. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here with all of you to share this video and to hear your thoughts on it. And to begin, I've selected a song, and so Cindy will get that playing for us. One of the best Zoom DJs on the planet.
Woman on the radio talks about revolution when it's already passed her by. Bob Dylan didn't have this to sing about. You know it feels good to be alive. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. I saw the decade end when it seemed the world would change at the blink of an eye. And if anything, then there's your sign of the time. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this right here, right now. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up.
I love that song. I always have. For 40 something years, we can rock out to that one. Okay, so I'm excited to hear y'all's thoughts on the video that what I do a lot is when I'm in the kitchen and stuff, I have YouTube going a lot of the time, and that's where I listen to a lot of the teachers and listen to each week's lessons and things like that. And so I'm very innocently washing the dishes, and this video came up, and I thought, oh, well, let's see what he says. And I turned it on, and he didn't say anything that we don't already know. It was just the way he said it. It was just so matter of fact. And I'd never heard it put that we are the divine being. You know, we're not a divine being, we are divine being. And that was just one of the things that really stuck out. And also the, you know, and I saw so many similarities with Alcoholics Anonymous because one of the things that I learned there was we do the footwork and leave the results up to God. And he mentioned that in this. And, you know, and hearing that we wrote Ramana Maharshi, we wrote all those things. And so it was just his perspective, just so matter of fact, just really stuck out. And in the talk, I mean, there's a lot that he said, and yet at the same time, it was very kind of concise. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and open it up because I'd really love to know y'all's thoughts on this. So if anybody feels moved to share starting out, and if not, I also loved, oh, yay, rock on, sister. Hey, Rana.
I'll start us out. I enjoyed it. I didn't take any notes, right? I was just trying to be present and listen to him. And like you said, it wasn't anything that hadn't been said before, but there was his matter-of-fact way of putting it that for just a nanosecond, I had that glimpse that when he was like, everything is coming from you. You're the only point of view, right? There was something there that was really edgy and juicy, and I felt like I was kind of like, "Ah," you know? And so it was more experiential. I mean, what had happened for me is I had listened to a Helen Hamilton YouTube video and then listened to that soon after. And it was very complementary for each other because she was talking about that thing we've heard her say, there's no holes in space where objects are. Like it's all just the one thing, and objects don't displace consciousness. It's all the same substance. And there's just this knowing, right? When I go to look for a me, I find a body and a mind that's having thoughts, and I find senses, but there's not a me and there's not a you. And so that's kind of, I feel like I'm just like on the edge here. And so it was really good. I enjoyed it very much. So grateful to start us off today.
Thanks, Rana. Hey, Julie. Hey,
Hey,
Julie.
hey. Hi, everyone. So glad to be back with you. Let me lower my freaking hand. Okay. Yes, and I didn't write it down either, but my memory is probably not as good as Rana, but I did listen to it yesterday and then today, kind of about a half hour before we got on here. He just cracked me up in the beginning because he's like, I don't care if you believe me or not, I don't give a rat's ass. I was like, oh, okay. But yes, I like that he was to the point. I really appreciated the questions and answers at the end. I liked how he said, we're like we can play Hamlet, but doesn't mean we have to become Hamlet, and I could associate with that. And that I just, like Rhonda said, I'm just, there's no you, there's no me. It's just we're just here with love and to be. And I love when he said that, just be. He said, wherever you're at, just be and accept it. Like, this is what is meant for you. Okay, I'm not going to say it right. It's like no matter what's happening in your life, if it's wonderful or if it's maybe something that's something to do with your medical, it's okay. Accept it because this is your life, and I really like that. Because this is where you're meant to be. It's your play. And I liked what the one lady said. Or the guy said, "Why don't I like my dream? Can I give it back?" And I thought that was kind of funny. But really, it was. I know. I guess where I'm at right now, it just really was good to hear his his directness, but then it was also I enjoyed because it kind of put all of us together, what we're learning in ACIM, so I appreciated that. But I really did like the questions and answers because I felt like I could relate to those people asking those questions. So yeah, and it was so funny because when I was thinking this yesterday, I said, I wonder who recommended this video. And then I was talking to Libby this morning. She said it was, I knew it. So anyway, I love you guys and look forward to hear what Cindy has to say and anybody else.
Love you too, my friend. Hey, Cindy.
I can't wait to hear what Cindy has to say too. Anybody here in that place where, like, if you wake up in the morning, you sort of have to make your bed before you feel comfortable enough to do whatever's next? If you know what I mean, like there's certain things, and if they're out of whack, it becomes so much harder to just be present. And there were things about this person, the personality, that I had to work to overcome before I could, like, I absolutely um appreciate how simple the message ultimately is. And I've been sitting in front of a computer and a microphone long enough that, like, it wasn't set up right. So I kept hearing him breathe. And it was so much harder for me to listen to the message because of the way he moved around in the chair and the way, and this has nothing to do with him. It was a very interesting realization for me to know that if it wasn't for this hour, I wouldn't have made it 5 minutes. And it's so much fun when I find my own self-judgments within the teachings. But I have a commitment to being really present with whatever we are working with, and that there's always something there for me. And so I spoon fed the first 30 minutes, I think. I had to walk away and come back and walk away again and really get over remember that the teaching that it's all me. And so he's me too, brought me to this space of looking at, what are the parts about me that irritate the hell out of me? And once I really, because I accept the teaching wholeheartedly, I accept that everything's a reflection of me. And my resistance to sitting still with him, it was an indication of aspects of me that I don't want to look at or I'm not patient with. And I started to laugh at myself at some point in watching the video. And I expect while I'm speaking about it, there's something that's been coming up for me just in the last couple of days, and he's part of it, where um, judging others while I sit accepting that there are no others is becoming more and more painful. And and that happened while I was watching him. And it was a stupid thing. Like he didn't, and it wasn't about him at all. He couldn't care less if it was bothering me that his breathing was as loud as his audio and all. I kept wanting to go and adjust that microphone. If I moved it up just a quarter of an inch, I wouldn't have heard it anymore. And and I could remember there were years and years and years where I was breathing heavy, and I'd go back and listen to a YouTube video where I was teaching and all I could hear was my breath. So I knew it was about me. And it healed something while I was listening to him. And so I like confessing that. We can never dislike anybody else. It's because there is no one else. And it was such an interesting realization of having that experience come up. And I now know, Nadego taught us that everything is for us. So I knew that I was being set up, and I was quiet and patient enough to catch it. This, because he was just pleasant and he was just communicating truth. There was nothing he was saying that I was going to argue with what he was saying, and yet I wanted to. And so being able to be really conscious of that and let it come up here and be in forgiveness of the judgment was very, very cool. And then he really, he was teaching Joel Goldsmith. He was teaching A Course in Miracles. He was teaching, we are the individuated expression of the infinite invisible. He was teaching a lot of his words I could hear. We're doing Jesus in the New Testament with Regina's commentaries. I could hear what she was sharing and what he said. I could hear the guides in what he said. The truth is true. And then it became a really so I had a whole kind of lifetime experience with this, right? And then I get to the end, and it was so interesting because I couldn't even understand the questions in the audience, if that makes any sense. And I wrote to Amy, when she told me she wasn't going to be here today, and I was just like, I don't know that I live in the same world where those questions were being broached. I have no desire to say, in my space right now, there's no longer a desire to say, you're not being real. I think someone literally was looking at him going, "Get real, guy. I got to pay my mortgage." And I was like, I don't live in that world. I've had decades of trusting that the truth is true and always having my bills paid for reasons that one couldn't understand. So that was an interesting experience to just be part of. So that's what I got for you, Livy. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Thank you so much for that. And I can so identify because I have issues with Alex, on his podcasts. And I had to look at that and go, okay, what about me? Is this activating for me to look at about myself? What am I seeing in myself that's just griping my ass to no end? Excuse my language. And I had to do the same thing and go, oh, okay. I love that aspect of it. I really loved, I felt like I heard it for an explanation of it on being in the world and not of the world is accepting everything as it is, and that I appreciated that clarity in that.
Mm.
And I loved when the man shared, as me talking to you as you, I love you. And, he looked at him and said, I love you too. And so, yeah, it was just short, sweet, and to the point. Everything just seemed that way. And I loved when he, talking about judgment, and the guy said that he did judge himself for watching Netflix. And he said, when are you going to let go of the judgment? You about ready to let go of that? And yeah, so I loved the way he pointed to things. Hey, Rana. Yay, I get to hear you.
Hey, I'm back. I think one of the other pointers in that is when he said, I may not get it right, but he said, Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana Maharshi aren't real. Or what did he say? Don't exist, never were, something, right? And of course, it pings me because I have that part where, wait a minute, I've made all this progress. I've read all this stuff. I've taken all these courses, but it's poking the ego. And I've come to appreciate that, right? To be able to sit with that and see how upset little Rana is that this isn't about making a better Rana. It's just crazy. So I just wanted to add that. Thanks, Liv.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Carol, yay.
Morning, everybody. Great to see everyone. Um, yeah, this is just great. I'm loving everything that's being said because I can relate to it. And the thought comes up that, yeah, I am you all and you all are me. It's like there's not really the one point of view is every point of view at one now or another, really. And it's, as you said, Rana, here it's not about fixing or changing this personality. It's fine the way it is. It is what it is, and it's nice sometimes, and it's not so nice other times, and it's whatever it's created to be. So if it changes, it changes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because there's nothing like whatever is aware here does not seem to be aware of what it is that can change it, nor does it have any interest in changing it. It's just going to play out. And when I started I've listened to him from ACIM before, and I thought, oh, wow. And I was a bit taken back, like what Cindy said at the beginning, because I don't remember him being that pokey, like at the beginning. And I thought, oh my goodness. And I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, yeah, it's a little bit irritating, and that's fine because I'm experiencing that, and everything doesn't have to be my preference. Who cares, right? And by the end of it, the presentation of that personality sort of made a full circle. And it seemed to go from one way to when it just got to the pure one going back and forth. It was just that. And when it was over, it was just like, yeah, it's just the same thing presenting differently. And it doesn't have to all be loved. It doesn't have to all be liked. It's just however it reacts, it reacts. And that's kind of the way where I'm at the last several years. Whether that's nice or not, I don't would care about that either, because there's nothing that can do anything about it that is right here with any kind of control. It's just one thing there for itself in every possibility. So every time there's me being Chuck being annoying, it's also just experiencing that, and another aspect of it experiencing the annoyance, and another aspect of it, it's just what it is. So that made any sense. So that's all I've got to say. It's just like, who cares about the personality? The personality is just a bunch of stuff happening. It's not always going to be liked. It's like, I don't like it when it's blowy snow getting in my face. It's like, it's annoying. So what? I'm allowed to be annoyed. That's part of experience. So just, yeah. Nothing to learn from it, nothing to change, nothing to go, yeah, I need to be okay with that and I need to get over that and I need to see it differently. No, it's there, so experience however it is.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
I understood what you meant. Thank you.
You muted yourself, Livy, so I'm sitting here waiting for you to say, Cindy, your hand is raised again.
I did. I said, hey, Cindy again, and nobody heard me. Okay. Hey, Cindy again.
Oh, that's fun. Feel free to call on people whose hands are not raised, by the way. As long as their video's on, that's my general rule of thumb. If your video is on, I'm in a space. Since nobody else's hand was raised, one of the points that I've been sitting with is this idea of the ladder of enlightenment. I think those were his words, the ladder of enlightenment. I was listening to Regina talk about this Jesus teaching about the rapture, though Jesus doesn't call it the rapture, where, at some you never know when the time is going to come. And this understanding more and more that there is only one voice, he said one voice, many mouths. A lot of our teachers say there's only one consciousness. What Regina was saying in this audio is it's like popcorn that hasn't been popped yet, and our commitment to our spiritual practice is like the fire. So every time we say yes to this work, we're heating things up under the popcorn, and when you hit a certain range, the popcorn kernels are going to pop, and it's like another seemingly separate human being has learned that they're not separate anymore. My job, though, is to become part of the fire, not like I am not the one being popped. There's no person here. That's in Nisargadatta Maharaj. So that's in my teaching, that there's no separate person here. It's just that my hanging out in this energy is feeding the dissolution of the sense of separation. So this idea that there are some people that are more enlightened or have more wisdom or something than others, he was really pointing to. And I've been sitting with here this understanding that that isn't what's happening here. Dense, dark thoughts are being dissolved, but they're not being dissolved from me. They're being dissolved from the consciousness. And he was really kind of pointing to that. And it's one of the trickiest kind of things. I'm sitting here feeling like a separate person. I know that there's a unique consciousness being here, having this conversation and doing these things. But Regina especially was saying that in this moment that I'm sitting and allowing the light to flow, 10 people at some place on the other side of the world may get this enlightenment experience. But she's like, Byron Katie was on the floor staring at a cockroach when her sense of personhood dropped. And so this recognition that because the form of Byron Katie had this teaching flow through her, or Eckhart Tolle, or Nisargadatta Maharaj, or Papaji, those are just vehicles that are transferring the message that is here for all of us. So there's never a me who has less than you. There's a lot of confusion that it still flows through a lot of interesting stuff here, but every opportunity I have to say it out loud, I'm going to say it out loud. So thank you for that.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that comes out of your mouth. It's very, very helpful. Hey, Julie.
Alice can go before me since I'm double dipping. I don't mind.
Alice, is that okay? Thanks, Julie.
Hi. I just listened to this morning, and I did start out feeling critical of. I was critical of his PowerPoint. Like wonder what this was made. This was kind of a long time ago. I don't know, so then I caught myself within his, sharing. I guess that I was like, I was aware that I was in criticism or judgment, and I I and it came up for me. It's like, I know I have a great need to be, that it to be pleasing, like I must be pleased. I found um, that place in me. And now it's sort of funny, about when I seem to, be desiring that and demanding that. So I thought what I really, I didn't hear the questions on my version of this, but I really thought it was like I liked it a lot because it was like the cream of the crop. Like he like let all the clear, good, straightforward teaching from across the spectrum of those that we've, I've but I was just like, okay, he's like the best of the best with the highlights, and it's not um was at a version that was just straightforward. I think that I came to appreciate it. And I think the thing about do your duty and leave the rest to heaven, um, I wanted to share. I spent yesterday with my sister in the hospital room, and it was just so lovely and extraordinary. And everything fell away that was bullshit between us. Her fuss about Catholicism and wasn't there. Her um her sisterhood with me was there, and it's like she'd lost her husband, she's seriously ill. She's but she was in an accepting place without like that phony I'm going to act this way because it's nice. I mean, I just felt I can do that. That I'm all right when I'm not. But I just felt like I had to just go do what I was going to do. I got up early, I drove up there, I spent the day. Everybody was yapping about, in the background. Um, but I just felt like I just wanted to say that all that, so much of our lifetime of not being harmonious sisters just wasn't in the room. It was just the love. It was just the relationship. It was just our time together. And she's very I can get into the medical, but it doesn't look good to me. Is what's happened, her diagnosis and her procedures. So but it was more like I really felt like I went with my heart. I'm just going to go there. I'm going to I'm not going to stay back because they were saying like nobody's talked to her in 2 days because she's just been sleeping and medicated, whatever. And miracle number, whatever, we were together for like, a couple hours talking, or just being together. It wasn't yap, yap, yap. So I just want to tell you how lovely and beautiful. And I feel like it's, one of those payoff moments for, seeing life differently than a battle. And I did want to also share. He talked about the castle story. Um, And I was once upon a time when I was in Ireland, and I just noticed all these broken down old castles everywhere, just up in the landscape, up on the hills. And it was like my takeaway for the visuals of that and just being there. It's like there's no protection. You know what I mean? You can build your damn castle, but it's penetrable, and it's being behind, being armored, being defended, being held up in a castle. And then hundreds of years later, it's a crumble. It's been breached. It's been broken into. So I thought he was going to go there with the jumping princes on the castle thing, but I think my defenses are but foolish guardians of mad illusions. Is my tagline from A Course in Miracles. My defenses are but foolish guardians of a mad illusion. So I thank you for this video. Thanks for listening to me.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Alice. And we continue to hold you real, real close. And I'm so great. It was wonderful to hear about your experience with your sister. That is just absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We love you a lot. Julie?
Oh, yes. Oh, Alice, oh my God, I got chills and goosebumps when you were talking about your sister. Um, that's just beautiful. And that is the gift. I was talking to Libby this morning, and, I have an older sister, and, you know, we have a love, hate. I don't know if it's hate, but love, a difficult relationship at times. And now that I'm here with her in this area, I'm spending more time with her, and I'm learning to just be with her and just love her. And it's amazing how the times we do have with each other has been really wonderful. But then, I have to, so I'm grateful when you just shared that. That just was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. I just want to piggyback a little bit what Rana was talking about, like the judgmental stuff. Because I catch myself, I'm still judgmental, and I catch myself because, let me see if my words are right. Since this move, there's been so many things changing, and it's all been a wonderful change. I I just feel so blessed that God brought us back to this area, and I'm spending more time with my sons, their wives, girlfriends, and the grandchildren, and just the joy. And the other night I was over at my son's house, and I was holding my grandbaby, Ozzy, who's 5 months old now, and he fell asleep in my arms. And oh my gosh, it was just like that pure joy. And I'm watching him, looking in his eyes and the giggle. And and it's how I feel when I'm in these rooms with you guys. I just feel like this love is just bursting out of us because we all enter the energy. And then I want to go out and be that energy. And then, become a human. And then the judgment comes in, but I'm grateful that I'm trying not to be so hard on myself, because with this change is coming different time change, different things I can attend, I can't attend, and then I'm beating myself up like, you need to do this. No, I just need to be, and I'm learning that. Just be, and be the best version of you, which is love. But that's all because of being in these rooms. And so it's like after this ends, I want to take my dog for a hike because it's beautiful weather here. It's like high 70s. So, and then be out in nature, but continue that love. And that's all because of, I guess, when he said something in our lives, we grew up Catholic. I grew up Catholic, and I, grew up in non-denominational or Pentecostal or Baptist. You weren't satisfied with it. And so it allowed you to question. And I do remember that. And I remember having those conversations with Rana and Livy. We'd have our little get-togethers, and I'd be like, yeah, I like what you're saying, because I did question it. And then that brought us here and brought me here with you guys. So I just think I liked how he was putting that. But like my memory, I don't remember exactly the words. But yeah, I just got to tell you, when I'm not with you guys, I miss it. But it's just, I want to continue this love that we're having today. It's like, oh, so anyway, all right, that's it. Love you.
Thanks, Julie. Another thing that he talked about that I appreciated was, and again, we haven't heard it nothing we hadn't heard before, but get involved in life. If there are things that you want to get involved in it. And the clarification, it's just not to become attached. The whole point is to not become attached and be with everything as it is, including the beeping of these text messages that are coming in on my computer as I'm doing this. But, I just really appreciated that aspect of it, to just accept and not become attached. That's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, was to let go of the attachments. Let go, and I'm grateful today that I can see when that's happening, when I am attaching and not recognizing. And I went to a doctor's appointment on Monday, and it was one of those times that I was aware of the fact that what I was seeing was an illusion, and that I was a part of this illusion and a part of everything that was going on, and not separate from anything. And there was a real comfort in that, because I wasn't attached to what the people were thinking about me. And that is a miracle in itself for this being. And so I would love to hear from John or Regis or Melanie or Shannon or Sandra, if anybody feels moved to share what they. Hey, John.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you for everybody for being here. This has been such a wonderful, wonderful week for me, and this is like the cherry on the cake so far. But let me just say where I'm at with this, and it really kind of speaks to what I heard just now. I think as Julie was saying, something about the word judge, and oh my goodness, that came up because what I'm learning today, and it kind of speaks to this, is that John's world and everybody else's world is different. And everybody else's world is different from everybody else's world. It's fingerprint specific. So, and when I forget that, I get into trouble, because the reason being that I'm running from my set of values and everybody else is running from their set of values. And that's the thing that's most important to all of us. What's important to us is what we value. And those are the things that just driving this whole bus. And so really, can I compare myself to anybody else? I don't think so, because there is no other like John. There is no other like Sandra. There is no other like Livy. It's different. The most beautiful thing that I can do is just accept what's going on, even when it apparently seems to violate, or what Rana says. Well, every upset is a setup to heal. That's exactly the point there. When I forget that, and that really, whether it's the video or not, or whatever it is, as soon as I'm comparing myself to anybody in any situation, I'm on the wrong track. The only thing that I can really remember, and I got this today, is really just the key concept is to remember that relativity doesn't work. That's a major, major ego game. I just have to remember what's in my heart. The authenticity that's in my heart, and the authenticity that's in their heart, and where can we meet on this? What are their needs, and how does that line up with what my mission is, what my goal is, what my destiny is, and how can we meet together on that street? So, and it kind of speaks to the very thing that I'm hearing. Oh my God, Regis's talk yesterday or the day before about his health journey was over the top for me. I really can't, really can't speak highly enough to, and any other healing journey, whatever it is, physical, mental, or emotional, spiritual, whatever. I really can't speak highly enough of the value that it gives me and the gratitude that I got for that. So, well, Yeah, no, I'm just repeating myself and gambling on. But the main thing is I want to know is that I want you to know, Olivia, is I appreciate every living soul on this so much. And this week it's just been a monumental. I'll give you one example. It's like, and we speak to the divine being. It's I'm being divine when I'm learning to let go more and more of my animal nature or my undivine nature. And that's the only way that I can do that is just by being aware and being in an environment where I'm supported in that. Because it's not hard for me to slip back into any animalistic stuff, whether it's a judgment or whatever it is, And I just want to say, I just want to say that, when I listen to Julie or Chuck or Dago, who's always wakes me up about stuff, I mean, because it's repetition that drives the bus too. We all know that. That's why we come back. But just to have you guys, folks on the call is, oh my goodness. Shut up, John. You've said enough.
Oh,
Thank you.
that was wonderful. I am so glad y'all are my dream, that y'all are in my dream, because y'all say so beautifully what this being doesn't. Yeah, y'all say it so beautifully, and I'm so grateful that I can speak so eloquently through you. Thank you so much for that. That is just absolutely wonderful for this being. And that I love that the the willingness to um, just to be able to be as human, to enjoy this humanness, to roll around in it like a dog that's found that sunny patch in the ground. And as long as I don't attach to that being what I am, then I can truly enjoy that grass and that sun hitting on me like I never have before. It just is so wonderful I really feel like I understand what it feels like to be in the world and not of it after hearing him. So I'm just real grateful. So thank y'all so much. Hey, and Dago.
Hi. So great to hear you and everyone. And I actually I missed hearing you in the beginning, but uh, I've just learned that that's perfect. And that everything is perfect, exactly as it is. And it's just the mind and Dago that's not happy. And when I can just step back, just even for 1 minute. And that's why I love the teachings of just getting quiet. I put my hand on my heart and then I remember, oh, okay, this is just the movie. Pass the popcorn. So it's just and then then I find my joy, and it's just like it's just God just and Ramana just gives me my joy. And so yeah, it's just so great here to be with all of you. And I'm just I just so love that we're taking this journey together. So it's just such a blessing. So thank you.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And you're such a blessing. Thank you so much, Indigo. Melanie, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's so wonderful to feel your loving energy. And yes, I really, after got into listening, I really appreciated his pointing, consistent pointing. And one thing that he said, and we say this word all the time, we say indivisible. I knew Cindy mentioned indivisible. And I was just reflecting a lot on indivisible. And it's really profound because the only thing when you think of spirit, we use the word spirit. You can't take a little piece of spirit or even light. You can't take a little piece out of it, cut it in half and, whatever. And so in conscious, we are indivisible. So it's just really profound that, although we appear as these separate entities, that's just an illusion. And I was also reflecting a lot. He mentioned that reality is what persists unchanged always. It never changes. It's what persists always. It's, like the background, the presence. And if it changes, it's an illusion, but it exists. So I was reflecting on that. It's an illusion, but it exists. So if it exists, but it's not real. So I was questioning that something can exist but not be real. But then he said it's like the movie. The movie appears and it seems to exist in the moment, I guess, but it's not. It's changing all the time, right? So it's not reality. But it seems like a hard line to define between, and I kind of worked with that a lot. So I was glad for that pointing and to dive deeper into that distinction a little bit, and recognizing that infinite intelligence. And I know Regina points to that unchanging presence within which there's movement, which thus appears manifests. But always go back to that unchanging presence as what we are and not get pulled into the manifestation end of it. Really helps. So thank you, Livy, for bringing that to us. It was great.
Thank you, Melanie. And, I was talking with Rana the other day, and I mentioned that it's interesting that now, where I am now, is recognizing when I become the Olivia character. And that's been very interesting to recognize, oh, that's what the history of who I think I am. And of course we go into that unthinkingly. And so now it's very interesting to go, oh, that's not the truth of what I am. And isn't that interesting that I just went into that, And
You pointed to the witness, as the witness.
yeah.
And you
So
can watch yourself in conversations with people, kind of playing out your part, saying what you're expected to say and playing out that part. But once if you're not attached to it, it's okay.
right.
Yeah.
And when my dad passed and when he was in the process of passing, and I met with my two sisters, and the three of us had not been together in one place in a long time, and we're sitting there, we're going to discuss his care and everything. And I recognized I went into the role of the little sister where they know everything and I know nothing. And that was an incredible seeing,
Mm.
And it's been a real gift over the past 3 years since his passing to not have my focus be so much on other people and caretaking, that I'm able to hear what the messages, what the stories are, And it's like I said the other day, I found letters that my mother wrote my dad while he was on Guam in 1952. And I really don't know about that much about my mom when she was younger. And I've read about 4 or 5 of the letters. And then it occurred to me, after an experience I had on July 4th, that I really don't care about reading the rest of them because I know what she is in truth and the love and the light that she really is, even though she's not physically here, that I really don't have an interest to get caught up in a story about her life.
Mm.
And and it's going to make, I have so much stuff of my dad's and family stuff to go through that, I figured if it's been 3 years, if anybody else in the family wanted any of it, they would have come over and gotten it. And now I feel freer to go through and throw things out because I'm not attached to them anymore. And it's it's going to be a whole new experience. So, yeah. So thank y'all so much for that. So much of that comes out of y'all, and I really appreciate it. Hello, iPhone, man with the mustache. Not as great as Sam Elliott's, but it'll do. Knock yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Dave, and I'm really having a problem with the Sam Elliott thing because I've prided myself forever on this. But anyway, um, No, I'm a big Course in Miracles guy, and so I'm trying to relate to and see the differences and embrace this non-duality stuff. What I really was bugged by in the beginning of this video is how he wasn't getting down to business. He's just kind of going through all these summaries and, kind of examples and stuff. And I was like going, come on, get to some meaty stuff and all. So my ego is kind of fighting the, uh, his name's Chuck, right? Or Charles?
Chuck, it's Chuck.
Chuck. I was just kind of fighting the idea of Chuck. But as he started getting into it, I really appreciated him. And one thing I really appreciated was how short his answers were. He was just so it's like sometimes people take questions and they have to show off how much they know and all this and go on forever explaining it. And he was just like, no BS whatsoever. It's like sometimes one phrase or one word or whatever was his answer. And the answer made perfect sense, but it was just so non ego driven. It was truly amazing. So I really like your class and I want to be included. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Glad you're here. Okay, we got 4 minutes. Who wants to take us out? Regis, you want to take us out?
I don't know where I'm going to take you to. Uh, for me, I'll just say everything God is, I am. Everything I can imagine, wherever you think God is, however you see God in the sky, in you, beside you, around you, in the water, whatever you imagine God to be, I am. And I take my place. I did help set the stars in the sky. I am the sunset too. I am the sunrise. If God is the ocean, then I take my part in being the house of every sea creature. I take my part in the typhoon. I take my part in the hurricane. I take my part in everything that God is. And I think on so many levels and so many ideas that he presented from the very beginning was just saying that you are whole and complete. You have nothing to learn from anybody else. You have nothing to get from anywhere else, and you have nowhere to go. And it's the heart of what I try to remember every day, all day. It's the peace of not having to struggle and strive and analyze and break down and contemplate. I'm not against any of that. It has its proper place, but it can be done from a place of wholeness, not from a place of brokenness and lack. And I think that's what I appreciate the most of what he was having to say. He was just saying, we all have words and information, but don't get distracted by the words and information. Don't get lost. Don't think that anything is grander or greater. Jesus said, the works that I do, you do also. Everything that I am, everything that you see me doing, all the greatness and power that you can imagine, however you see God, you are. And to me, that's the arc of non-dualism. there's no power, no God, no great wisdom out there. Everything that I see out there that is great, I am. I'm absolutely intricately woven into it. And so thank you, Livy. Thank you
Yeah.
for practice.
Thank you, Livy.
Thank y'all so much. Cindy, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you. This was extraordinary. And I'm just going to say it because I just listened to it this morning, then I'll stop the recording. The guides, I was listening to them and they're channeling right now in Italy. And they did this. They're getting clearer and clearer, but they were talking about machines. And I'm not the only one in the group that was interpreting what they were talking about, artificial intelligence. And they literally said that these machines can never be wise. They can provide information to you, but only the information that you human collective already know. Wisdom is what God is, and you're never going to receive it as long as you start idolizing machines. And the whole conversation is still sort of reverberating in me, and I'm gonna pull it out and say, we'll probably, if there's nothing, we may listen to it on Monday, but people like Melanie and Amy and others might get it from me beforehand, because it was a pointing that just lit up for me as Regis was sharing. But I'm gonna stop the recording right now. We'll meet again in 3 hours for Advaita and ACIM. And man, I love us. Here we go.